if you're not in the, well, anywhere.
Well, in one of the local compounds where we were, they had wells, and you paid so much a month for so many liters of water. So you had to go and get it. A lot of people don't have access to clean water in the villages. There's one of the foundations, there's a couple of foundational points that Presbyterians do mission. You heard very loudly say we do mission in partnership. Another is capacity building. And wells are a good example of how you can build capacity and how you cannot build capacity. Building capacity means you can go in and you can do the well, making sure that community is ready to continue that work, meaning that they collect money when people take the water so that when the well breaks, they can come back and they can fix it. And they aren't waiting for the Americans to come back and fix their well, for instance. And, we saw a well in Zimbabwe that was no longer used because whoever had dug the well persuaded them to use a windmill for power, and the windmill blew over. So there was a well, and they couldn't get to it. So building capacity is really important. The Outreach Foundation has done some wells, particularly in Mozambique, but you saw one picture there. There's a group called Marian Mission out of Ohio, and they do well digging, shallow wells in Malawi and parts of northern Zambia. They've done thousands of these. So a lot of people are working on clean water, but waterborne diseases like diarrhea is a primary cause of death. In a country like Zimbabwe that has been just in ruins because of the current president, I know right in the city of Harare, some of the water mains broke and they didn't do anything for months. There was no water. And then what came out was brackish. We have missionary friends in Ethiopia, and they're teaching at a school, and the pump broke, and it's getting repaired, but what they need is a new one for $6,000 that will, I guess, they must have a circuit breaker or a surge protector, because they said all of the electrical surges is what's breaking it.
They don't try to do solar power? There's just not enough innovation?
It's expensive, and sometimes the panels get stolen. There was a clinic that we built, I think through Medical Benevolence, and they had solar panels and went back and they were gone.
I think that's why it worked on the bookmobile, because it was a mobile thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't have it in the same place all the time.
Yeah. I know it's solar and it's expensive, but it should be done there because, there's plenty of sunlight.
Yeah.
And you said, you were telling me the house you lived in was cinder blocks. So it's cold and it's like temperature-wise gets down to what we're experiencing now, pretty much.
Yeah,
50s.
Somebody
Africa
recently.
Is not warm.
Pardon?
Africa is not warm.
Yeah, not all of it. Yeah, on the whole, Zambia is very temperate in temperature, but it does get chilly. In winter, I would go to bed with a turtleneck and flannel pajamas and lots of blankets. But the churches there are so vibrant. They have so much to teach us about spirit-filled worship. I don't mean Pentecostal. I don't mean charismatic. But I mean just the depth of faith. When you pray, give us this day our daily bread, and that's what you're really praying for. There's a whole different dimension to faith that, we're kind of lazy Christians. I remember saying, we're rich in things and poor in spirit. Flabby Christians, I think, is one of the words I used. So when you're doing mission and partnership, even if you decide just to do in a program like an orphanage or something, it brings you up to a whole different level because you're thinking beyond yourselves.
I want to give you enough time to get ready for
Okay.
worship, so I think we could close in prayer now. Would somebody like to lead us?
I'll do it. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Lord, for our guest today who's given us some insight and some thoughts and feelings about what you were doing with your church throughout the world. Help us to be prayerfully, financially supportive of that work in every way we possibly can. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And before you guys get away, next Sunday's class